Welcome to BookTalkers English Learning Zone. In today's episode, we're diving into something you probably use every day, but may have never really thought about: greetings in English. This video is going to help you go way beyond just saying hello. We'll explore how to greet people like a native speaker, whether you're a beginner or an advanced learner. You'll learn practical phrases, cultural differences, and how greetings change depending on the situation, from casual to formal. We'll also compare greetings from New Zealand, Australia, and the UK, so you'll understand how people really say hi in different parts of the English-speaking world, and how to sound more natural when you do it too. By the end of this video, you'll feel confident starting a conversation with anyone, anywhere, whether you're meeting someone for the first time, greeting a colleague at work, or just saying hi to a friend. So if you're ready to greet like a pro and improve your English the smart way, let's get started.
All right, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at something I think we all take for granted, and that is how to greet people in English. And I'm guessing that if you are here with us today, you've thought a bit about this, whether it's for professional purposes, if you travel a lot, if you're just trying to make better connections with people.
Yeah.
Real quick, if you're enjoying this, make sure to hit that subscribe button.
And the research we've been doing has been really fascinating. It shows the greetings in English go way beyond just a simple hello. There's a lot of variation and nuance to consider.
Right, exactly. And one thing that really jumped out is how something that seems so universal, like saying hi to someone, can actually be pretty different depending on the culture, right? Like we're going to be looking at how people greet each other in New Zealand versus the US, and that'll get interesting. But yeah, our goal today is pretty straightforward. We want to make sure that by the end of this deep dive, you're going to feel confident. You'll know how to greet anyone in English, no matter where you are or what the situation is. Okay. So let's start with the fundamentals.
Yeah. So if you are just starting to learn English or you just want to make sure you've got the basics down, let's start with, like you said, the beginner greetings. These are going to be the phrases that will work for you in almost any situation.
I like to think of these as like your safety net, right? The ones you can always fall back on. Hello, like that's as universal as it gets, Then you have hi, a little more casual, a little more friendly. And then there's hey. Now that is definitely for people you already know, pretty casual.
And then we have the greetings that are time specific. So we have good morning, which you typically use from like the time you wake up till about noon. And then you switch to good afternoon. And that usually goes from noon till about 5 p.m. And finally, good evening. That's for any time after 5.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the examples we saw was like a really basic interaction, right? It was like someone says hi, another person's like, hello, how are you? And the first person goes, good, thanks. And you. So pretty standard, pretty automatic,
I think it's interesting how are you has become such a routine question in English. It's not always a genuine inquiry about someone's well-being. Often it's just a polite formality. You're not expected to give like a detailed response unless the situation calls for it. A simple good thanks or not bad is usually sufficient.
Yeah, it's more like a quick check-in before you move on with the conversation. So you've got your basic greetings down. What if you want to sound a little more natural, a little more fluent?
Right. That's where we move to the next level of greetings. These phrases will make you sound more like a native speaker. So think about phrases like, how's it going? It's a really common and versatile way to greet someone, and it's a little more casual than, how are you?
Yeah. And then there's, what's up? Definitely more informal. You'd probably use this with your friends, your family, people you know well, maybe not so much in a formal business meeting, Right,
exactly. And if you haven't seen someone in a while, you can use, how have you been? It acknowledges that time has passed, and it shows you're interested in catching up. And of course, there's always, nice to see you. Simple and pleasant, especially when you run into someone you know.
Oh, and long time no see. Classic. When you haven't seen someone for ages. One of the dialogues we came across was like, hey, how's it going? And the response was, pretty good, just busy with work. You. And the first person says, same here, glad to see you. So it's definitely a more natural, flowing kind of exchange.
Yeah, definitely. It feels more conversational. So now you've got your basic greetings, you've got some more fluent options. What if you really want to sound like a native speaker? Especially in formal settings.
Right.
Well, that's where things get really interesting. We've got some more advanced, regionally specific greetings.
This is where we see the cultural side of things, And we found some pretty interesting differences between how people greet each other in New Zealand and in the US. So let's start with New Zealand. Kiwi English.
Yeah. And one thing that's really cool about New Zealand English is the influence of the Maori language. You'll hear kia ora used all the time as a greeting. And it's a beautiful word because it has so many meanings. It can mean hi, but it can also mean thank you or even be well. It's a very positive word that reflects the Maori values of connection and well-being.
And they also use gide, which I think is pretty common in Australia too, right? It's a
Yeah.
very relaxed, informal hello. And then there's how you are going. That's like the Kiwi version of how's it going. I feel like you can already hear the laid-back New Zealand vibe in that.
Absolutely. And then you're right, this one's interesting because it can mean a couple of things. It can be a simple greeting, like, how are you? But it can also be a way of asking if someone needs help. It all depends on the context and your tone of voice.
Yeah, like if you said it with a concerned look, it would mean something totally different than if you said it in passing, you know? But overall, it seems like New Zealand greetings are pretty warm and friendly, and they often come with a genuine smile and that kia ora. It sounds really welcoming. Okay, now let's hop over to the US.
So in the U.S., you'll hear a pretty diverse range of informal greetings. And it can vary depending on the region and the social group. You might hear, hey man, or hey dude. Those are very casual greetings, usually between men who know each other well. Probably not appropriate for a business setting, though.
Yeah, then you have yo, which is pretty much urban slang, very informal. You'll probably hear it more in casual settings, you know, maybe among younger people. It's definitely a very relaxed greeting.
And then if you go down south, you might hear howdy. It's a friendly greeting you'll hear a lot in rural areas, especially in the southern U.S. It has that down-to-earth, welcoming feel.
And then there's what's good. That's a pretty energetic and positive way to say hello. It's got that upbeat urban vibe.
And I think it's worth noting that greetings in the U.S. can be a bit more expressive. You might see people using a lot of body language, like big smiles or even high fives, along with a casual greeting, like, hey, how are you doing? It's a reflection of that sort of outgoing, direct communication style.
Yeah, so it seems like there's definitely a lot of variation in how Americans greet each other. But what about when you need to be more formal, you know, like in a professional setting? What are some of the formal greetings you might use for business or job interviews or presentations?
Right. So in professional context, it's really important to be clear, respectful, and formal. So you'll hear a lot of, good morning, nice to meet you, especially when you're meeting someone for the first time.
And then there's hello, my name is your name, which is a pretty straightforward way to introduce yourself, especially if it's a formal setting where you need to make introductions. And it's a pleasure to meet you. It's always polite and creates a good first impression.
Right. And there's how do you do? That's another formal greeting, but it's considered pretty traditional, maybe even a bit old-fashioned these days, especially in the U.S. It's not as common as it used to be.
Yeah, you might hear it more in British English. And then if you're at a meeting or a formal event, you can always say, thank you for having me. It's a polite way to acknowledge the host. One example we saw was, good afternoon, Mr. Lee. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm your name, and I'm looking forward to our meeting. Concise, respectful, it sets the tone for a professional interaction.
Absolutely. So we've talked about the words you use, but there are also nonverbal cues that are really important when you're greeting someone. So let's talk about some vocabulary and pronunciation tips.
Okay, so starting with the vocab, a handshake is a common way to greet someone formally. You grasp their right hand and shake it briefly. A smile, that's pretty universal. It shows you're friendly and approachable.
Yeah. And eye contact is also crucial in many cultures. It shows you're confident, sincere, and engaged. And then there's your tone. That's the way your voice sounds. Your tone can convey so much, from friendliness to nervousness, so it's really important to be mindful of your tone when you're greeting someone.
And in terms of pronunciation, even something as simple as saying hi with a rising intonation, you know, that little upward inflection at the end, can make you sound more friendly and approachable. It just adds a bit of warmth to the greeting.
And using contractions can make your English sound more natural, especially in informal settings. So instead of saying, how are you? You might say, how are ya? And what is up becomes what's up. It just makes the conversation flow more smoothly.
Right. And for those of you interested in New Zealand English, the Kiwi accent often has those softened vowels. So how are you going might sound more like, ho you're going. Importantly, kia ora is pronounced kia o-a. Getting that right shows respect for the Maori language and culture.
Exactly. Those little details can make a big difference.
Good.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about basic greetings, cultural variations, pronunciation. Now it's time to put some of this into practice.
All right, so we've got a little practice challenge for you. We're going to say a few phrases, and we'd love for you to say them out loud with us. Wherever you are, just give it a try. Ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so hi, how are you?
Kia ora. Nice to meet you.
Hey, what's up?
Good afternoon. I'm here for the meeting.
Yo, long time no see.
There you go.
Yeah.
Even just saying these out loud a few times can make them feel more natural. And, try incorporating these into your daily conversations. The more you use them, the more comfortable you'll become.
And that brings us to our final thoughts. Greetings, as simple as they may seem, are really the foundation of good communication in English.
Absolutely. Whether you're saying Kia ora in Auckland or what's up in New York City, remember it's not just about the words. Your tone of voice, your smile, your attitude, that's what makes a greeting truly genuine. So hopefully you're feeling a lot more confident now about greeting people in English. You've got a whole range of options, from a simple hello to a culturally rich Kia ora.
And as a final thought, think about how a greeting can really set the tone for an entire conversation, even a relationship. How do greetings work in your own culture? How does it compare to what we've talked about today? It's pretty amazing how much meaning we can pack into those first few words and gestures.
Like and subscribe.